Hi, Alessandra. It's lovely to be here with you today. Thanks for joining me. We worked together on a project for Hale, Pule, Ayurveda and Yoga. It was for the Ayurvedic Health certification training and building out a funnel, a marketing funnel for them. And you agreed to come and chat with me about it today and share what happened and what we learned so that it can be useful to other natural health schools out there. Maybe you can just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and your role.
So my name is Alessandra, and I've been working for Hale Pule for almost 3 years. I have been working here as in the role of strategy and enrollment, and I work very closely with Elizabeth during the period that we built up this strategy together.
At the time when we started, the project started, can you just give a little bit of background on what was happening with the program up to that point and why we started this project?
Yes, sure. So we have 2 trainings, and we were offering those 2 trainings once a year through an annual campaign. And we were, enrolling just once in the year.
What did the business want to achieve? And, what was the challenge that you wanted to overcome?
What we wanted is to be able to offer this trainings and the enrollment to be across the year and not just spread throughout the year and not just in one date. Because we wanted to be able to offer, we got many students coming back to us saying that they didn't want to wait a whole year to be able to enroll with us, and they wanted to be able to start straight away. And we also wanted to stabilize a little bit the cash flow coming into the company, so we didn't have it coming just once a year, but throughout the year. So that was the 2 biggest challenges we had, and that what made us start thinking of shifting the strategy towards having an evergreen campaign.
What do you think was the biggest frustration to switching over also at that time?
I think at the beginning, we didn't know what was needed to be able to have those enrollments coming in a constant way. We were used to doing a very big campaign and having all of the flow of people coming in. So building up that recurrent content to be able to start building like a funnel that had a process and that we could see people coming through constantly throughout the year was one of the biggest challenges.
As I recall, at the time, that annual campaign was really drawing on the warm audience of Hale Pule. So, and those were mostly people who came in for personal health reasons. So you felt that there would also be people out there who maybe weren't coming for personal health reasons, but they were interested in studying Ayurveda, that to be reached.
You're right. And actually, bringing that new audience that was not that warm audience we had already brought in, that new audience, they needed to be nurtured. So that was a completely different strategy that we need to put in place, because we need to attract these people, nurture them, and then see them probably enroll.
In terms of what it would mean for the business, I think you already said it would bring on this cash flow, stabilize the cash flow through the year instead of waiting for the annual take on, which is also quite risky, every year waiting to see if it's going to work.
When we started seeing the benefits of having that cash flow come throughout the year and not just in 1 month, it also implied having our business be more stable financially.
What framework did we use?
So we used an application funnel, and I have to say something here. We did not know how this was going to be done. And that's when you came in and you started telling us a way of doing it. And I would like to say that what I value a lot from your experience and from what you shared with us is that you are up to date constantly, and you are researching out there in the market what are the latest strategies to put in place. And I think that helped us bring in this strategy that we didn't know anything about. We didn't know how to implement it, and you walk us through step by step to be able to put it into place.
Okay, great. So what we used was the Discovery Call Accelerator, and we built it around this application funnel. Can you remember, there was a reason, I seem to remember, why you wanted to do applications? Because on the annual campaign, we were letting people buy straight from a sales page.
We had people buying or applying or enrolling directly from the website, and that had 2 implications. One, they were a very cold audience, and second, we got a high failed payment rate from these people that were coming cold. People weren't sure what they were getting into, and we were not sure the people that we were getting were the right fit for us also. And that's when we decided to do the book a call strategy to be able to have the time to talk to people and for them to make sure that we were the right fit and for us to make sure that we were the right fit for them. And I have to say that decreased immensely the failed payments. It stabilized the revenue coming in because it was really coming in.
I remember that's one of the things I love about Hale Pule, always looking for a win-win, the person as well as for the company. Yeah.
We didn't want to have people frustrated because they chose a training that probably wasn't the right fit for them, or us being frustrated because probably they weren't the right fit for us either. So that win-win has made us really enroll people that are a great fit for us and that we are a great fit for them, and they're successfully graduating and successfully finishing and building their own businesses.
If we just walk through the project, like how did we start it? What actions did we take in the beginning?
At the beginning, we need to start developing a content that was actually attracting these people, because we're not, and now, as you said, we were not reaching to that warm audience. We were reaching outside to people that were probably interested in studying, but they didn't know anything about the training. We were constantly testing and seeing if people were interested in that content, if that was bringing in leads. Building that content required a lot of brainstorming sessions of us really understanding what people wanted to hear, what they needed to hear, and us building that content for them.
What we learned is that it has to be, like you were saying, very tangible and real for people. So we have to really understand what questions do they have on their mind when they decide trying to make this decision. And then the other thing was that we had to make evidence-based content. There's a lot of content on the internet, so just saying so doesn't really help, but giving evidence that, you know, how it's worked for clients and stories and so on is really important. And the third thing was, for that top of funnel content, was to make it a good duration, because if you throw up like reels and things like that, you know, you can just come up on people's screens. It doesn't really mean people are interested. You know, people who watch short content aren't necessarily going to become buyers. So we had to make longer content so that we could follow up with people who watched a good percentage of it, and we knew that they were sincerely interested.
And as we started learning more from our leads and what was actually working, we then understood what was the content we needed to develop, and we developed a very coherent strategy throughout the year with that content. So I think that definitely made it a very stabilized strategy with stabilized results.
Yes, so the first thing we did was put up the content, and then we built the funnel very lean. So we didn't build a big complicated funnel in the beginning. We just made it so that we could get people onto calls as quickly as possible. And that was so that we could see if we were getting the right people.
Each step brought us new teachings, and I think the key of reviewing each thing we did and seeing if it was working or not helped us shift the times we needed to shift and always have like better results, because we were really on top of the results that we were getting and of the implementation. With that content, I remember that we were getting people through, but they were still cold leads. They were still very cold when they came into the funnel. What we did after that, we put together some, like a piece of content that would go in the middle, so people would have more information about us and were warmer when they came to the call. I had an info session that we called, and the first time we did it, it was a 40-minute video, and we placed that. But when we started reviewing, we saw that it was probably too long and people would not watch it. So we split it into 4 videos that were of 10 minutes. And we wanted people to really watch those videos before they came into the call, because once they watched them and they came to the call, they really knew who we were, what we did, what we didn't do, and the call was successful. And that we saw an improvement in the conversion rate when we got this warmer audience coming in.
Right. So first test that we were getting the right people in, from top of funnel, and then spend more time warming them up before they got to the call.
Then another challenge came up, is that we were getting a high percentage of no-shows or cancels. We then started brainstorming around how do we actually improve that. And to improve that, we needed, again, to be sure that the people watched the content that we were creating. So they were sure that they really wanted to come to us. And we put in place some strategies like reaching out the day before. We sent a email to make sure that they knew and we could have a confirmation that they were going to show up. And that worked nice, but then we wanted to try something else, and we started trying voice notes. That also worked really well. And it was just sending a nice, warm hello to the person that was going to have the call, and let them know who we were, introducing ourselves and letting them know that we were going to have a call in the next couple of days. And that did improve quite a lot the rate of no-shows and cancels. So again, this was because we were able to start reviewing every step of the funnel, what was working and what was not working. And that was another challenge that we were able to resolve.
So just progressively run it, monitor, see where the bottleneck is, fix the biggest bottleneck, run it, monitor, find the next bottleneck, fix the next bottleneck. And so it was just getting better and better over time. Do you want to share some of the results?
I would love to. So the results that we got on the first year, after the first year of implementing this, we got an increase in revenue of 80%. I think that gave the team a lot of enthusiasm, because we were not frustrated of getting the wrong calls, frustrated of getting cold people, frustrating of people not showing up. And everybody started really feeling happy because we were getting the results. We got the revenue, people were showing up to our calls, the content was the right content, the no-shows decreased. We had a stable strategy going on. The cash flow improved thoroughly because it was coming each month. Still today, we have that strategy going on. So it was a long-term strategy. It was not a quick fix. It was something that we implemented, and up until today, it's still working and we have it running.
Who out there would you recommend to that they would implement this framework?
I would recommend this to any company in the wellness industry that are wanting to have like the book a call strategy, that want to be able to attract people to have a conversation before they join their programs. I think this will work for them really well.
Thank you, Alessandra. I really appreciate you spending the time with me today. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you want to share?
Part of the success of this strategy was having the support from you constantly throughout the process, and always trying to bring us back to, we need to really review every 90 days what's going on and seeing where is it working or it's not working. And usually companies think that this is just something you implement, it starts working and you don't look at it anymore. I think that having that discipline of really going back and forward to seeing where was the pain points of the strategy made it a sustainable long-term strategy. So I would like to thank you for the results that we got. And
thank you. Yeah, that's a very important point that you raised. So it's not one and done. It's evolving all the time and changing all the time. Yeah. Yeah. So for any wellness people, any natural health or Ayurveda schools or centers who'd like to implement such a strategy, I'd be happy to chat with them. So you can contact me on Elizabeth@goodcompanydigital.co. Yeah, I'd be very happy to have a chat with you and see how I can help you take a step forward. Thanks very much, Alessandra. It's been fun talking to you today, and I appreciate you sharing.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.